Good afternoon, everybody. Tammy from Homesteading in the City with Tammy. Today's video, we are coming from the kitchen again, and I am going to show you how to make a easy tomato paste recipe. If that is something that interests you, stick around. Okay, so before we get started with our tomato paste recipe, I just wanted to take a moment to welcome all of you to my YouTube channel. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed. And for those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the content. For those of you who have been here from the beginning, I really appreciate you coming by each week and watching the new videos that I put out. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It does benefit me by you subscribing to my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's get started with making our tomato paste. So of course the first thing we're going to need is some tomatoes, and of course you can see I've got quite a few tomatoes here. The other thing that I have is I have a KitchenAid mixer, and it has this attachment on it. And this allows me to put the tomatoes in here. They get pushed down through, and through here they push out the pulp. And then out the end here is where all of my seeds and the skin will go. So I do not, all I have to do with my tomatoes is just wash them and quarter them, and I can put them right through my KitchenAid mixer, right through here, and allow them to go right on through. If you do not have this attachment for your KitchenAid mixer, you will have to go and blanch your tomatoes to get the skin off them. Then you will have to put them through a sieve and run them through so that you get like applesauce, but you just want to get the tomato pulp out of them. That will keep the seeds out of them and everything. We need to have the seeds out of these and just the juice and the pulp from the tomatoes in order to make tomato paste. So I will show you how I do that. Once, of course, I'm not going to show you washing the tomatoes. Just make sure your tomatoes are clean, free of dirt and everything from your garden. Or if you buy them at a stand, just make sure that you get them washed. And then we're going to just put them through the processor. I will show you how it works once I get it going. And then what we are going to be doing is we are going to be putting them into a roaster. There we go. We are going to be putting them into a roaster on low, and this will allow them to start cooking. I know I'm going to have way more than just my little roaster will go. I don't have the big roaster. I only have this 6-quart roaster, and it actually already has some tomato sauce in it that I had a 4-quart basket of tomatoes that I cooked, or I squished down the other day and put in the freezer. So that's been in there this afternoon, just getting it to cook down. You can also, if you don't have a roaster, you can use a crock pot. If you don't have a big crock pot or not enough crock pots, you can use your big pot on your stove and you can cook it down. When you're doing it on the stove, you can use high to get it to start cooking down a little bit faster, to get rid of some of the water faster. Once it starts to get thick and there's not as much water, when you stir, you're actually stirring up pulp, you will want to turn it down to low so that it does not stick and burn. Last thing you want is for all of those tomatoes and that to stick and burn and not be able to use it. Once it gets thick enough, I would suggest putting it into a crock pot or a roaster or something like that. That will allow you to control the temp on that by putting it on a low setting or even a warm setting to let it keep going. Usually just a low setting will allow it. I have my roaster on 150, so it's on a relatively low setting, and it'll just be able to cook around, and I can leave this going 24 hours a day because crockpots roasters are able to be set and kind of forgotten about and just stir it every now and then. I will not leave my pot on the stove to go overnight. I will end up taking it off, put it in the refrigerator. When it comes out of the refrigerator, there will be 3 layers. You'll have your pulp layer on the bottom, you'll have like tomato juice in the middle, and the top layer will be water. You can actually, if you get it out of the refrigerator easy, you can actually suck off that water so that it doesn't have to cook off. And you can take that by either just doing a spoon or a turkey baster or even a cup, you know, if you can get it to, if there's a lot and you can get it to with that, you know, any way you can use it to get the water out is going to benefit so that you don't have to cook it so much. Once I get it cooked down to that I can put it in my roaster, I will end up putting it in the roaster and letting it go in there till it thickens. It's going to take probably a couple of days to thicken to the point that you can can it. And we will water bath can it once we get it to that point. I will actually show you how to process the tomatoes down, and then I will start cooking it. And then each day I will show you, I'll document what it looks like each day so that you know what the stages are that you have. Once it gets to like pudding stage or really thick applesauce, that's when we can be done and we can put it in our jars and water bath it. So let's get started with processing these tomatoes. Okay, so the last thing that actually goes on to my KitchenAid mixer is this attachment that will allow me to direct the liquid into the pan below, into the pot below. So I'm going to get this going and I will show you what I do. All I do is just quarter my tomatoes and I end up starting the KitchenAid mixer and then just letting them run through. It also depends on how long for processing your tomatoes. It depends on what kind of tomatoes you are using. If you are using a mixture of paste tomatoes and like a big boy or an early girl, it will take a little bit longer. If you are using straight paste tomatoes, which these are a paste tomato here. If you're using something like a Roma or an Opaka, it will thicken up faster. And let me show you the difference inside. So this is the difference inside of a paste tomato compared to what is inside of a regular tomato. There's a lot of jelly inside this, which will give you off a lot of juice. These ones don't give much juice. They give a lot of pulp. So when they go through the processor, it takes them a little bit to go through, but they do go through, and it just makes it easier for cooking down if you're using more of a paste tomato. So that's the difference in the inside of the tomatoes. So let's get started. Seeds and skin is coming out the end. Oh, there it is. Coming out the end there, and I just have a bucket that I put it in. And all of our pulp and juice is going down into the bowl here. And I'll get a couple of more cut up, and then I will show you what it looks like as I'm putting them in and pushing them through. Okay, so here's how we put them through. And there's a little pusher that you use to push them through. So that is how you process them out in when you have a attachment for your KitchenAid mixer. They do sell these still for the KitchenAid mixer. I got mine online a while ago, but they still do have them. So I'm going to get these tomatoes all put into the bowl, and I will show you what I'm doing after that. This is all the stuff that I got out of the tomatoes. So that this is the skin, the seeds, and any pulp that, you know, hard stuff that would not turn into juice or pulp. So I just wanted to show you that's what I got out of the tomatoes. Now I have this one full. Once you get it to a rolling boil, you can turn it down to medium and let it simmer and allow it to be uncovered while you're here watching it and stirring it so that the moisture can come out. This one I just got on and it's just now starting to get warm. I ended up having these 2 pots, and then of course my roaster here on the table is full, and that is just gonna keep thickening as it goes. Once I get it thickened down some, I'll add some more liquid to this to keep that going. But probably when I'm done with those 3 pots, this thing might be full and it might not when it gets cooked down all the way to the end. I'm not really sure. This was 3 8-quart baskets of tomatoes that I had. The other basket, they're not quite ripe enough to do, so I'll be doing some more of this. But I will take you along and show you every day what it looks like, and I'll document how many days that it's taken to get this process cooked down to the thickness that we need. Okay, so here is day 2 of my sauce. This is what it looks like this morning. It sat in the refrigerator all night long. I cooked it down pretty much most of the day, like yesterday, and into the evening, and it got pretty thick. One of the things that they suggest, I tried to use, let me go back a little bit. I tried to use my roaster, and it started malfunctioning where it was starting to burn my tomatoes. So I ended up pulling them out of the roaster and just doing this pot and then my other big pot that I had. And I got them cooked down to actually this little pot here. It all fit in the refrigerator last night. One of the things I did last night, and I'm going to do again today, is strain it to get a lot of the liquid out. There is still some liquid in, as you can see in there a little bit. Not as much as there was last night. I was able to strain it out and get it into this smaller pot. But I'm going to show you, do it so that I can do it, hold that this way. Putting it through the strainer here. Okay. And as you can see and hear the water coming out of it, it didn't look like there was a lot of liquid left into it, but there really actually still is quite a bit. And I'm going to actually leave this like this for about an hour so that it can allow all of the liquid to go out. I still have a little bit left in my pot here that as soon as it starts to condense down a little bit where some of the water gets out, I'm going to put more. But this is what you need to do in order to get nice thick paste. Okay. I'm going to let it sit like that for about 2 hours to see if I can't get the rest of the liquid to come out of it. And then I will put it in my jars to can it. And it doesn't actually have to be hot to be put in the jars to can. It's cooked. I mean, it's pretty much, you could eat it right now if you wanted to. So I'm just going to let it sit in here and hopefully get all of the extra water out of it. Like I said, it's still, water's still running out of it at a pretty good clip. I'll actually, when I'm done, I'll show you, I will measure out and I'll show you how much more water I got out of it. Last night I probably got close to 8 cups of water to get it to be this, but I knew it wasn't. I didn't let it sit as long as they suggested to let it sit for. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple hours today, and then I will put it back in the pot and maybe drain it again if I need to. I'm not sure. Seeing if if it doesn't look dry enough on the top, then I will scrape that off, put what's down below in another bowl, and then try to drain this. I'll look at it a couple of times during the day to see if my water's not coming out of all of this. Then I'll do that, because this is definitely really moist, but it is a lot thicker. It does stay on your spoon. So, I mean, if I had to cook it or can it just like this, it would be okay. It's just not as thick as I'm looking for. I would like it to be really thick, like the paste that you see that you get from the store. I've not put any spices or any salt or anything in this. Usually they don't put stuff in there. They allow you to, it's just tomatoes cooked down, and then you put your own seasoning in when you use it for baking or cooking. So I'm going to let this sit for a couple hours. I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like in a couple of hours, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour and it's pretty much done dripping. I'm going to dump it back into my other pot here, and then I'm going to dump it back through again just to see if there's any maybe that's on the top or something. Okay, I wanted to show you how much liquid I got out of it, and that looked like it was pretty dry. Let me pour it. Now that is a 4-cup measuring cup, and it's over the 4-cup line. So that's, even though it looked like it was dry, that's how much extra water was still in that. So since I got that much water out of it, and like I said, I got at least 8 cups last night, so another 4+ cups today. I'm going to do it again one more time and see if I don't, with it stirring it up and mixing it all through, and then put it back through my sieve and see if I don't get even more. But that's a lot of extra water that was still in those tomatoes. Okay. And you can see the consistency of it is a lot better. It's still thick, but it's not as thick as I was. Whoa. And there is some water running out of it now. So it's, we'll see if we get some more water out of it. We might not get a lot, but that's okay. The point is to try to get as much water as we can out of it before we process it. So we'll see what we get out of it. I'll let it sit here and do some more, and then I'll come check it in an hour. If there is not that much water there, I probably will consider just putting it into my jars and doing my water bath canning process on it. Like I said, if you are putting your stuff in cold, you don't need to start anything up. I can just fill my jars, put water in my canner, and just start everything at one time and get it up to temp. Okay, so it's been another hour, and it's leaking a little bit, but not much. Let's see how much we got out of it this time. A cup. So we got another another cup out of it. So we got a total of 5 cups out of it today. It's actually really thick. I like the consistency that I have right now. So I guess I'm just going to put it into jars, and then I'm going to water bath can it. And I just have to get my jars ready. You know, make sure you wash your jars. Put your seals and rings on them. Get your canner with water in it. And like I said, you can put it all in cold and let it get heated up to the temp. Let me find out how long I got to process for. Just one moment. So we can process our tomato paste for 15 minutes in our, we'll be just doing them in the little jelly jars, the 8-ounce jars. Processing them in a water bath canner for 15 minutes. So go ahead and get your jars filled, get them in the canner, and happy processing. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make tomato paste. It actually was kind of fun. This is the first time I actually made it, and most of the recipes called for doing it in the crock pot or in the roaster, and that's why I tried it that way. It did not work out for me, but it did work out by putting it in the pot and just cooking it down, and then taking my sieve and straining all the extra liquid out to get it as thick as possible. So that was really something that I enjoyed doing. I have a lot of more tomatoes coming, and I'll probably make another batch just because it's something that we do use, and I always buy it at the store. So now I know how to make it, and it's a really good staple to have in the house. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It does benefit me by you subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. And as always, I will catch you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye.